Well, family circle. And in the morning, Ali, I'm excited to have Judy Mzungu in the building. Karibu sana.
Asante, nashukuru.
And you look bomb.
Hey, thank you so much. You look good too.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about something that sometimes we confuse one for the other, or probably don't know the difference.
Yeah.
When you talk about temperaments, characteristics, personalities, and how that affects all the things that we do in life, the relationships that we have. Maybe we can start with the definitions of this.
The
three things. Yes.
First, we'll start with temperaments, because
Okay.
temperaments actually form the basis of who you are.
Okay.
They are actually genetically inherited.
Hiyo inakuja iko ndani.
Inakuja iko ndani. That's
Okay.
the canvas that God gave the world.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to character then is your perceptions, your beliefs that are formed over time.
Okay.
Your personality is who you project to the world to be.
Okay. So when we talk about the temperaments, then how do you know what temperament you are?
How do you know what temperament you are?
About how many temperaments are there?
Actually, okay, there are 4 basic temperaments.
Okay.
But then even these 4 basic temperaments, what then happens is that they blend in with others. So maybe you can be, usually let's say there are 4. You can be a sanguine, a choleric, a melancholic, or a phlegmatic.
Yes.
But then none of us is just one. So you are probably a mix of a sanguine and a choleric, a sanguine and a phlegmatic, a sanguine and melancholic. You could be a mix of a melancholic and a sanguine, a melancholic, and you understand. So then the blends.
Can we break them down? What each one of them means?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, when you're a sanguine,
Yes.
it just means you're a people person.
Okay.
You're a dreamer. You connect easily with people. You have a heart of compassion. Basically, in terms of your career and life choices, you'll be drawn to people because you draw energy from people.
Okay.
That's a sanguine. If you're a choleric, you're more leadership material. What then happens, you're more objective oriented, you're more goal oriented, you're more results oriented. You seem to see things in terms of goals and achieving those goals and going for them. So that means that a choleric is more a person who is driven by goals, not necessarily by feelings.
Okay. Is that where we'll have most of the leaders?
Most of the leaders actually fall in this category.
Okay.
But we'll add a disclaimer to that later on.
Okay.
Okay, then now we have melancholics. Melancholics have more imagination in them. They are more creative. They tend to be introverted because they have to go within themselves to find creative energy flowing out. They are more, what is it called? They are more introspective. They are more detail oriented. They are more analytical.
Okay.
Now, let me break it down, even in terms of career choices, so that we see. Let me go to the phlegmatic, then I come into the career choices. Okay. So when you go to the phlegmatics are more administrative, they are more diplomatic, they are easygoing, they are calm, they are good listeners.
Okay.
So if you think about these personalities in terms of career choices, you'll most likely find sanguines in sales-oriented jobs, anything that public speaking, because they flourish more in the limelight. Mm-hmm. When you come to cholerics, then you'll find them in law, in medicine, because again of their personality.
Yes.
If you come to melancholics, again you might find them, a lot of them in the creative space, and you might also find them in medicine. And the reason why you'd find them in medicine is because of the attention to detail. So they're able to harness the power and focus and get there. In terms of phlegmatics, you'll find them in administrative jobs, you'll find them in diplomacy, anything diplomacy oriented, or even counseling.
Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to throw it then to the audience.
Yes.
Do you understand what temperament you are? Just from listening in what Judy has said, are you able to place? And if you're finding it difficult to place, maybe you can describe to us what it is that you feel like you are. How do you describe yourself so that Judy can help place you between 1 or 2 or a mix of, for you to be able to understand what temperament you are? She just, told us about 4.
Those are the predominant.
The predominant ones. Are you able to know which one you fall into? And if you're not sure, please send in all your questions, because she's here and we're talking about temperaments today. Okay. Please continue.
All right. So there's a way that you can, as an example, try to identify these temperaments even by the way sometimes they dress.
Okay.
Sanguines, because they love attention, will tend to wear bright colors.
Okay.
They'll tend to be very blingy. They'll tend to wear a lot of makeup and all because they draw attention from the limelight. Cholerics will tend to be very practical dressers because remember they are goal-oriented.
Yes.
Melancholics will tend to wear colors that are more subdued. They'll wear blacks, blues,
Browns.
grays. But then, even because of their attention to detail and they tend to be more perfectionistic, they don't wear cheap.
Ah.
It may not be flashy, but it's expensive and it's well chosen.
Okay.
Very selectively chosen. Phlegmatics, on the other hand, will tend to wear more peachy colors. They also don't want attention. They are more subliminal. And now that's how sometimes you can just begin to see temperaments by even the way they dress. And maybe, now that you ask the audiences to find out, they can also find themselves by even the way their natural inclination in terms of their dressing.
Okay. Okay. And that is what you say, the template that we all come with.
That's a
that
template.
is not something that we pick up from the world. It is who we are.
Yeah.
Then that means it is many things that we do in life are dependent on that. And when we neglect that, then we sort of like end up maybe in careers that we feel we are stuck.
Yes.
We end up in careers where we feel, my God, is there a back office that I can
Yes.
just sit? I don't want to be at the reception. Or I want to be at the reception. I don't want to be at the back office. So it is when we neglect or when we don't understand what our temperaments are then.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. But then again, now the tricky thing, Mikali, becomes that these temperament tests are taken by you. If you say take a temperament, you'll take your temperament test, Mikali.
Yes.
But when you take your temperament test, sometimes what people tend to do is that they tend to write their aspirations
Or instead of who you really are.
instead of who you really are.
Yeah, because there's so many tests that you can get online to do this. But we
Yes.
might just be doing them wrong.
Yes.
Okay.
And that has been the challenge for us, even sometimes when you take people through coaching, to try and show people, you're not who you thought you were, but then finally it begins to settle in them. And how it settles in them is because now, as an example, just the same way you asked the audience, just by listening to that, where have you placed yourself? Some people come, by the time they come, they already think I'm sanguine choleric.
Yes.
Because being a choleric seems appealing. And that's why I said, when you asked, are they the leaders? There's a disclaimer to that. Let me tell you, phlegmatics are good administrators. They just make us good leaders.
Okay.
We had the greatest example that we give from our own country is Honorable Mwai Kibaki. He was melancholic, still is melancholic phlegmatic.
Yes.
But did he make a great leader? Yes, he did. But yet many people, especially people who are melancholic phlegmatic, tend to move towards cholerism because they think this is the ideal and they are running away from themselves. Some people who are sanguines tend to move towards choleric because they think this is the ideal, and yet we have good sanguine leaders. We have good choleric leaders. We have good melancholic leaders. We have good phlegmatic leaders. It's just about you understanding your strengths, being able to bring them out, and then being able to own your space. Now, that's where, because we haven't been taught to accept who we are, that's where many people tend to miss it.
Okay.
And that's why I say many of these, those temperament tests tend to fail at that space. Why do they fail? Because someone needs to help you to see, Mwikali, who are you first as a child? That's the template that we go back to.
Okay.
Who are you as a child? Because that gives us the original canvas. By that time, then we're beginning to already pick out what temperament did you exhibit as a child. Then now we ask you, who are you today? Who do you think you are? That adds to your story. Then now we ask another person from the people who knew you as you were growing, who has she exhibited herself to be? But then even as we take who has she exhibited herself to be, we have to remove your life experiences. And that brings us to a very crucial part of this conversation this morning.
Yes.
That your life experiences can do something to your temperament.
It can.
Yes.
Okay. Please explain.
Say, for example, you're a sanguine.
Yes.
A sanguine, we said, is a dreamer. A sanguine loves people. A sanguine
Outgoing,
is outgoing,
extroverted.
is extroverted and all. And then they go through life experiences.
Okay.
And when they go through life experiences, they seem to exhibit anger. The dreamer in them goes. They begin to withdraw from being able to reach out to people because now they're beginning to protect themselves. What then happens, even if as you meet a sanguine who has been worked on by life, they seem to exhibit a choleric nature because their natural sanguine strengths have been subdued by what now is the aggression that tends to look like a choleric.
Okay. That makes sense.
That makes sense, yeah?
It does, yes.
Then sometimes you might find someone who is maybe melancholic choleric. Life experiences come. What then happens is that the choleric nature, now a good choleric has good administrative skills. A good choleric is able to work and achieve goals.
So are we saying we have cholerics that are not good?
Because they have been hurt by life, wounded by life. So what then happens is that because of that, they tend to be over-aggressive.
Okay.
Now, a choleric, a leader who is wounded will hurt even the people that they are working
Keep
with.
stepping on other people's toes.
In as much as they seem to be achieving their goals.
Yes. So it doesn't matter who goes down, as long as
As long as you are,
up.
yes.
Yes. Okay.
But then a balanced choleric will have the strengths that a choleric has, but then will also have sensitivity that has been lent by understanding grace and not led by the wounds. Are you seeing now the place that I'm saying your life experiences?
Yes. Yeah.
So now a melancholic choleric who has been hurt through the course of life tends to bring out more the choleric. So then what you tend to see is the aggression, the hostility that comes with the negative aspect of a choleric.
Okay.
And then you probably will not see the creativity and that comes with the melancholic. What now tends to come out is the negativity and the pessimism that is lent and that by the melancholic personality. See now what the wounds do to us.
So for us to go back to the original setting, because now we've established that your temperament can be affected by the experiences that you go through in life.
Yeah.
When you realize, and you talk about this all the time, healing. When you go through, like Judy Mzungwa healing.
Yes, healing.
When you go through healing, then
Yes.
you're able to reset and gain the strengths that were there in your temperament before.
When you go through healing, you don't reset. The natural tendencies, the natural strengths begin to come out.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
Where now the anger, for example, of the sanguine goes, you begin to dream again. You begin to connect with people again. You understand?
I do.
Maybe the aggression of the choleric tends to go away. And because then you begin to find order and organization coming to the fore. You're achieving a lot without necessarily hurting people.
Okay.
The melancholic creativity begins to come out. Your perfectionism and procrastination begins to go away. The negativity and the pessimism that comes because of the wounds of the past. You see, when you're wounded, what happens is that the dark side of your personality, the dark side of your temperament is what comes out.
Okay.
And that's why we need to heal, so that it is in God's design that the strengths of our temperament is what we need to exhibit and lend to the world.
Okay.
When, for example, you're a wounded phlegmatic, what tends to happen is that you tend to withdraw, and it looks like you cannot achieve anything in life. It looks like you're procrastinating, yet you have good abilities. You have administrative skills. You have diplomacy. You have an ability to listen to people that is subdued by the wounds of the past.
Wait, I hear you.
You hear me?
I do.
And that's why it's important for us, because many times, because of these temperament tests that are out there, people are taking these temperament tests, giving yourself a temperament that is not necessarily you.
Whichever looks good.
Whichever looks
Or
good.
feels good.
Feels
like
good.
me.
But even then, because you're coming from the place of negativity, people tend, oh, you see, I'm melancholic phlegmatic, that's why you see I don't take action. No. You are not meant to take
Okay.
not to take action. Are you getting what I'm saying?
I do. You even have a reason why you are
Yes.
that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sanguine, therefore we are angry. No, you're not supposed to be angry. You're supposed to lend us your strength. The fact that your weaknesses are what seem to come out says something about a wound, something that happened that seems to trigger your
Yeah.
negativity and put down what was meant to be a blessing to the world.
Are there temperaments that are not compatible at all?
Now, it shouldn't be.
Okay.
Because as long when you come to the place of healing and understanding yourself, what then happens is that you'll be able to extend grace to other people. That's why, as part of my introduction, I say this is how you know the different temperaments you can establish, so that then, Mikali, because I understand you, I should be able to connect with you at your level.
Or that is with other people.
Yes.
I was talking about you as a person.
Yes.
Having the different temperaments, the
Yes.
combination of.
Yes.
Are there just two, and are there temperaments that will not probably, you can't find that in one person? Probably maybe sanguine and melancholic. Or
you can find them. By
you
the
can
in fact,
find
I
them.
think
Okay.
sanguines, melancholics struggle quite a bit because they have extremes.
Okay.
They have on one end very introverted and the other end very extroverted.
Also, you can be sanguine and male.
Yes.
Okay.
They're there and they don't seem to understand themselves. Many times we hear, because there's a lot of information on YouTube, they tend to call themselves bipolar. No, you are not bipolar. You are just sanguine melancholic. You have extremes of personality, and because you haven't been able to see it, sometimes you want to withdraw from people because that is your melancholic nature that is calling you. It's the creativity side in you that is calling you, that wants to withdraw and listen to yourself. Okay. At other times, you want to be with people. And at that point, people will also be able to engage with you. And that's a part that maybe you also tend to enjoy. But people cannot see this other side of you. And because you haven't come to that place of appreciating yourself that way, you can't be able to embrace both parts of your persona, both parts of your temperament.
Okay. Okay. We're talking about temperaments and how they affect your personality. We've talked about the four major and the mixes that go with there, the combination of that. But we're asking you to send all your questions, matters, temperament. Have you realized? Do you think you know? If you do not, then, well, this is the show for you. So send in all those questions, 111 444 111. That is our SMS line on Switch TV KE, Instagram, Switch TV Kenya, on Facebook. We'll be right back with Judy after this break. Welcome back to Full Circle with Mikali. How are you doing? It's the 1st of September, so happy new month to everyone who's tuned in this morning. We're talking about your temperaments and how they can affect your personality, and we've gone through the four of them and how they can mix up their strengths, their weaknesses, and what our life traumas will do to our temperaments. And I see a question here for you, Judy, and this probably will lead to the next phase of this conversation. Good morning, Mikali. I feel like I have two temperaments, male and phlegmatic, and a touch of another, sanguine, making them three temperaments altogether. Please do ask our guest if that is possible. So we've been talking about two. Is it possible for you to have three?
Yes, it's possible for you to have three. But what happens is that even in as much as maybe she says she's male phleg, usually there's one that is dominant, and a predominant one, and then there's a secondary one. Okay. So if you have a third one, then you'll have only traits of the third one. Okay. But then what should happen eventually as you continue to grow is that then we should have a balance. Now, because I'm kingdom, let me say that if you think about, let me say, for example, a sanguine, and you think about the 9 fruits of the Holy Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and self-control. Sanguines will struggle as far as love is concerned. I mean, will have love. They have love in abundance, but then they'll struggle as far as patience is concerned, and they'll struggle as far as self-control is concerned, because they tend to go with the flow. Okay. You understand? Yes. Then now, for example, a phlegmatic and even a melancholic will tend to struggle to a given extent with love because of their introversion. They tend to be very self-focused. But they don't struggle with patience. They don't struggle with self-control. They don't struggle with gentleness. But gentleness, again, will be a struggle for the sanguine. Now, a choleric will have a challenge as far as love is concerned. We'll have a struggle as far as patience is concerned. But now, as we continue to mature, as you continue now to take the healing journey, what tends to happen is that now these 9 fruits of the Holy Spirit becomes then balanced in your life.
Okay.
You understand? Where you would tend to, in as much as your temperament lends you to sanguine choleric in terms of your career path and all, and the direction that you'll take, still you have the gentleness and the spirit, and you'll have gentleness and you'll have self-control that now tend to come with the melancholic and the phlegmatic. Does that make sense to you?
I think I see. Yes.
Yes. Because now that is the ideal.
Okay.
But because we are still fallen.
Yes, I was going to go there.
Yes, because we are still fallen,
yes.
What tends to happen is we will have the predominant temperament, and then we will have the secondary one, and we tend to have traces of the rest. But in terms of our career choices and everything, they will be determined by these 2.
Okay. Is there a possibility of having gone through something as a child, probably not have experienced fully your temperament, but you'll hear things of, she was always a loud child, she was always outgoing, she liked to play outside, but then something changed completely and they've grown up knowing that this is who they are, so they do not know if they used to be anything else, and they don't have a memory of what that felt like.
It's true.
So you grow up knowing, I am now this temperament, I've always been this temperament, I've already settled into it, I'll never be that person again because I don't even know who that person was.
Forget thinking that you are this temperament. The worst cases that I've had is people who come for coaching and they're like, I don't have a gift, I don't know my temperament, I know nothing. Because they were so traumatized somewhere in their childhood.
Okay.
But then by the grace of God, and by even as you go through coaching, we're able to actually trace who they were as children. Our greatest victory has been a lady who, she came and she's like, I don't have a gift, I don't know my temperament, I know nothing. So it's in taking this journey that we begin to ask you, what were you good at? What were your natural gifts? What were you good at? Remember, this is a person who came thinking that they don't have a gift, they don't know their temperament, they know nothing.
Yes.
Mwikali, this lady, wrote her workbook, and just by looking at her, I told her, you're a writer. What I didn't know is that actually, do you remember that I said temperaments come from your genetic?
Yes.
Her father, deceased, was a journalist. This girl did not know that she carried her father's genes within her, and then she was able to. Today, as we speak, she's doing online writing.
I have goosebumps.
So it is very key. This conversation that we are having today is going to unlock many people's destinies, many people's purpose, just by going back. And let's take this journey. Let's find out who we were as children. Even if life has hit you how, let me tell you, that is the place where you begin to trace your purpose.
That is true. So if the only option we have, or probably the available option, is what we've been doing online, to just check our temperaments, and then we base everything on what the internet says about us, how or what would be the guide to doing that the right way?
The guide to doing that the right way is, one, to come for realignment.
That's true.
That's true, because you need an external eye.
Yes.
But secondly, is you have to look at it in totality.
And be true to yourself.
And be true to yourself. And as you look at it in totality, then you ask yourself, what do I remember? And that's what did my childhood speak about me?
Okay.
Then, what do other people say about me? What do I think about myself? Then, in combination with not one temperament test, various temperament tests, look for the common denominator. Okay. Now, the reason why we come in as coaches is that we have an eye. Sometimes you may not be able to see yourself clearly, and that's why you need a trained eye to be able to see you and help you to come out. Let me tell you, the interesting thing, sometimes someone comes, they've already decided they're sanguine choleric. But by the time, even before the coaching, as we go through the sessions, they're able to already see And let me tell you, it helps to settle someone in their career choice, because sometimes people come to us and they're like, I got into this job just because, but the hand of God guided them. But now, as long as you're able to show them that this is who you are and this is where it was leading to and this is how you landed here, this should be your next, it helps to settle them. So that you find satisfaction and fulfillment in the path. I liked the intro as we were reading the quote. We were saying it is not about getting to the mountaintop. It is understanding your path. Now, the guide for you to be able to understand your path is your temperament, and you must be able to understand it.
Okay. I hope you all are learning today. You ready for another question? Hi, Mix. I cannot place myself in any temperament because I feel like I'm an introvert, but I am not creative, nor am I artistic. I hate dressing up, and mind you, I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher. Think ni mwalimu is not creative, not artistic, feels like they're an introvert, and they hate dressing up.
She might be a phlegmatic.
Okay.
They don't like the limelight. The fact that she seems to have patience, and that's what led her to teaching. And she's a good listener. Remember, counseling, teaching are careers for the phlegmatics. And she should take joy in that.
Okay.
Yes.
One more. Nice conversation, Wikali. I think my husband is melancholic. He likes expensive branded items.
Yes.
He is outgoing and he can make friends easily. Imeishia hapo.
Yeah, he might be a melancholic and he has a bit of sanguine in him. Yes.
Okay. Hi, Mwikali. There's this trait that has been outstanding in me since I was a kid. I am very emotional and I cry at everything. I can't stand fights or arguments, so I just cry. Sometimes I will be crying uncontrollably, and when I'm asked why, I cannot even myself understand why. When someone talks to me at that state, the condition just gets worse. Kazi kwako, Judy.
Kazi kwangu naona. No, okay, fine. You know, melancholics are very in touch with their emotions.
Yes.
Sanguines are also very in touch with their emotions. So she could be having both sanguine and melancholic within her.
Because there's need for more information.
There's need for more information apart from just crying.
Yes.
And then also we need to find out what is she crying about? Is she emotional about the past? Is she emotional about good things? But that means she's actually in touch with her emotions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Mwikali. Looking good, girl. Thank you. I am both extremely extrovert and introvert. And it's hard to understand myself. How do I reconnect with myself after deep wounds? No napotacha number.
Okay, nitacha number. It's nitacha number kweli. But then again, for all of us, let me say, Mwikali, we need to take a moment to stop and ask ourselves and take the healing journey so that we can go back to God's ideal for us. It's sad that many of us are walking, not being able to fulfill our purpose, not being able to fulfill our destiny, because what tends to happen, the wounds and the things that we have gone through blurred our vision. So because our vision is blurred, it affects our perceptions and beliefs. Now that becomes our character, and it tends to affect our personality, who people see. Because of that, our temperament is so hidden, and yet that is the canvas that God has given us.
Oh, goodness. Our time is up. Can you hear the sick tune?
I can imagine. Ati ni sangapi? But it's been a beautiful conversation.
Yes,
I just hope that people have been blessed, that they're encouraged to go back to themselves and accept. I think that should be my parting shot.
Yes.
That you should accept your personality, accept your temperament. That is the blank canvas that God has given us. Then your character is formed on the basis of your perceptions, and that's why we need to go and correct that, so that we can correct your perceptions, we can correct your beliefs, and then having understood that, you can present your personality being the true identity of who you are.
Imagine if you denied the world, Judy.
I tell you.
Where would we be today?
I tell you. And let me tell you, I'm one of those people who were running away, and I was presenting the angry side of the sanguine and forgot the dreamer, forgot the public speaker. When I healed Mwikali, the sanguine in me checked in.
Absolutely. How can we get in touch?
Yes. At Safarini with Judy Mzungu, Hakula social media handles. That's how you can get me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and my telephone contacts 0714-722-733, 0784-722-733. Let's take this journey together. At the end of the day, we must be able to find our true identity and walk in it.
Thank you so much, Judy.
Thank you too, Mikali. It's always a blessing being with you.
And on that note, we're just going to take a quick commercial break. We will be right